Hey, beautiful star. You're listening to Her Starring Role, and I'm your host, Michele Lamoureux. This show is for women who want to step off the sidelines into her starring role, to embrace what's possible, and to really live a beautiful, fulfilled life on her terms. And it's really easy to talk about, going for what you want and making things happen. But the reality is, it takes so long to make things happen, to even allow yourself to dream the dream and then take the steps. So, how do you bridge a life that you dream about with the reality that you may be in now? How do you take risks when you maybe are afraid and want to stay in a safe place? Last week on the episode, I talked about this idea of being underestimated, both from people around us and the limitations that we put on ourselves. And today I want to explore what the path looks like to truly step off the sidelines, to truly initiate and take a step forward towards more of your most authentic self and the part of you where you feel most at home. I think if you look at your life and patterns with friends and family members, um, what we see reflected oftentimes are women, myself included, who so readily will sacrifice or think about everyone around us before thinking about ourselves. And we're often rewarded for that, celebrated for that, praised for that, acknowledged for that. And there is beauty in being in service to others. But there's a challenge that happens when you never move past that. And I think, if you're younger and listening to the show, you may be really ambitious and going for things. And I hope that that's the case. Um, I found that for me, it was when got married, and well, it was more when I was deciding to become a mom that I didn't know how to bridge the part of me that had like dreams of doing certain things with uh, motherhood. I didn't really have modeling for that. I have the most amazing mother. I love her so much. This show is a love letter to her. Um, just her grace, her beauty, her gift of kindness, and of what's possible. She created such a beautiful foundation for me and my brothers and anyone who came into my house. She truly sees people and makes you feel appreciated and like you're so welcome. And I think it's such a beautiful quality. And I try to embrace so much of that in her because I admire it so much. But for most of the time that we were growing up, she was the stay-at-home mom. And maybe because she created such a beautiful space, not just for me, like I said, and my brothers, but for the kids in the neighborhood, for basically anyone who walked in that door. I admired it so much that there was a big part of me that when I became a mom, that I really wanted to replicate that. I wanted to create that feeling for others. And I I don't think I could ever live up to the way that she just naturally does it. Um, but what I became aware of um, by putting my career on hold was a voice that was really telling me, wait, career is a big part of who you are. And it took a while for me to re embrace that and to get back into creating and consulting and doing little things. And if I'm being totally honest, at 55, I feel like I'm just still starting on that path because I've been hosting this show for 7 years now. I've not taken a sponsorship. I've not actively looked for sponsorships. I've self-funded the show. There's so many aspects to it that I'm so proud of, But I'm realizing that to fully step into what's possible for me in the show, I also have to step into a different version of what I see possible for myself. And I think for some people, um, they're just better at it. They're naturally just better at doing that. They see a vision and they go for it, both feet. And I take longer to do stuff. Not always, but when it's come to doing things for myself versus being in a corporate environment, um, I feel like I excelled in corporate because I was part of a system and I knew what my role was and what value I could deliver. But doing it for myself on my own has brought up so much stuff for me. And I'm sharing this because I think so many of us end up in situations where we realize the lives that we've created that maybe we deeply love and value even still are leaving a void of something that needs to be fulfilled within us. That is kind of what her starring role is about, is to start re-embracing those parts step by small step. And if you're the type that jumps in, that's amazing. Go jump in both feet. I'm trying to learn how to do that more. But my priority still is my family right now. And I think until my daughter's in college, I won't be jumping in both feet. And I'm good with that. I think we all have to know what our priorities are and then honor those. But there's still more that I could be doing um, with the podcast, with the creative projects I want to do that I need to be prioritizing. And I'm sharing this because I'm going to use myself as an example. I think there's a lot of influencers and coaches and people who want to tell you how to be more like them. And the invitation with the show is actually so different. I don't want to teach you how to be more like me. I want to invite you to be all of who you possibly can be. I believe that we have the answers within us. And if we're always looking for more data and information about how to do stuff without sitting with what is actually true for us and what we really want, we can keep creating a life that looks more like what someone else has created or aspired to because we look up to them or admire them. And I would say at 55, I am at a point where I appreciate and value what people can offer, but I do not look up to anyone as more valuable and more important, more uh, anything. Because, and I'm going to use the word God, you could use universe or source or whatever you believe. But for me, God, I believe planted gifts within me, and it's my work in this lifetime to embrace what that is and to pursue it. And following somebody else's advice or modeling for how to do it is only going to get you so far, especially if you haven't gained the clarity around who you really are at the heart of you, who you really are at the heart of you, your gifts, your talents, what lights you up. And I think the people who are most successful sort of are unapologetically stepping into themselves and the most quirky or unique. Um, they're embracing all the messy parts along with this curated, image we're supposed to be putting out all the time. They're they're embracing their uniqueness. And that is the invitation. It's really getting you reconnected to the heart of you. So, how do we do that? How do you reconnect to the magic within yourself? How do you remember that there is more that's possible? How do you re embrace the preciousness of this lifetime and how quickly it comes and goes. Yes, life is long. It is long, but also it's not. We are here for a fleeting amount of time, right? So, and it goes fast. Like sometimes I think, oh my God, when did I turn 55? I feel young at heart for sure, but uh, you know, a decade can feel like a blink of an eye. So wherever you are, whether you're early in your journey, I know I have women in their 20s who listen to their show, to 60s and 70s. We've got a range of women, with the majority being somewhere in like the 35 to 67 year olds spot. So we're all sort of on different paths and different places, but at the heart of it, our journeys are all the same. We all want to live healthy, long lives. We want to be surrounded by people that we love and to feel valued and appreciated. And I believe that if you listen to the show, you also want to get connected to what matters to you and to bring your gifts out in big ways and small to make an impact in this life, whether that's just showing up with kindness, being the best mom you can be, starting a business, bringing your beautiful art out into the world, making jewelry, um, I don't know, writing books, speaking, um, being in bliss, traveling. Maybe you're just super adventurous, and what lights you up is the ability to make enough money to just live a more adventurous life where you see different cultures and experience different situations that take you out of the day to day. And as I'm talking, there will be parts of you that will light up at certain words or certain uh, ideas because they are a part of you, they matter to you. So, what I want to invite you to do is to remember who you are at the heart and essence of your soul, to reconnect to that beautiful part of you who knows what makes you happy, what brings you joy, what drains your energy, what uh, gives you energy, and to start inviting her in those experiences in more often. I also want to invite you to look at who you're looking up to, who you're getting information from, and realize that the women or men that you admire have parts of them that are speaking to parts of you. And that's valuable. What is it about them that is speaking to your heart? Why is it that you're following them? Why do you show up for their content? Why do you subscribe to their newsletter? Why do you listen to their podcast? You know, I love Amy Poehler's podcast. Being able to just be entertained and to laugh a little bit and to have more joy. She's giving the world such a gift. If you don't listen to her podcast, Good Hang, it's so fun. I just really enjoy it, and I don't listen to it every week religiously, but when I need a pick me up, I will tune into Amy's podcast. But, this idea of her starring role in you as the star of your life is so essential because uh, this idea of celebrity culture or that certain lives are more important or valuable is honestly, it's so ridiculous. I don't know if you remember during COVID, but a group of celebrities came together and either they sang a song or like they were trying to like inspire everyone, like we're going to get through this. And maybe their role in a celebrity status made them feel that they could make an impact because of that. But there was a part of me that thought we're so beyond this idea that somehow a celebrity status makes you more significant. that virus, it could impact anybody, and nobody knew how it was going to impact their body or what was going to happen. So I just remember thinking, yeah, the world is changing and in important ways. Um, it's time that you prioritized you as the main character, you as the star, and really spent as much or more time getting curious about yourself than you might be scrolling on other people's feeds, because it's entertaining and there's, to a degree that's great, but it's really important that you are investing as much or more time into yourself, because 10 years will go by in a blink of an eye, and knowing what you want is the only way forward to really feel that sense of joy and fulfillment, because time will go and people will gladly take your time. And I know some of the themes of what I've been talking about lately are sort of similar, but it's because it is that important. It is really at the heart of like what is possible for you. And if you have ever had um, someone you loved diagnosed with cancer or some other uh, disease or illness, or seen somebody you cared about harmed or hurt, and had their lives changed, or maybe it was your own diagnosis, you can't help but look at life differently. And so many of the entrepreneurs that I had on the podcast that first year, I did a lot of interviews with entrepreneurs, female, they were all female entrepreneurs, and having them share their stories. So many of them talked about having a health issue that was the wake up call. But I don't want us to get to a place where it's because of a diagnosis or, um, hitting that bottom, that we start paying attention to what really matters. And if that is the case, that is the case. Whatever, your situation is, um, knowing that there's hope and possibility on the other side and feeling supported is so essential. But wouldn't it be great if we taught our daughters that you matter in this society? Your voice, your dreams matter, and you are not here first and foremost to caretake for everyone else, but you get to take care of you first, and you get to continue to prioritize your well-being and your dreams. That sacrifice is not the only path forward, that putting yourself last isn't the only reason that you are championed, that influencers and celebrities aren't what you're aspiring to. All you need to aspire to and to get connected to is the truth that is lying within you, that's been waiting to be remembered and reclaimed within yourself. That's where joy returns. That's where possibility returns. That's where adventure comes into play. And that's where you make the most impact. And I think together, collectively, we can change the future for ourselves and for our girls and the future generations by modeling this idea of prioritizing your health, your joy, your passions, uh, and your purpose. And that your life does matter, and that you are here for a reason and a season, and to make the most of it, and that you deserve that. So just remember the light within you that wants to be illuminated, and that it's never too late, and that there is support around those dreams, and to surround yourself with women and men and people and communities that support and champion women who want to be lit up and leading a purposeful and meaningful life as a natural path forward. Surround yourself in those circles and find those people. I feel really blessed to know so many women and men in my life who are true champions, and I am back to them. Um, that does exist. So don't limit yourself with circles that want to see you small and are only there when you're down, but don't really like when you're up, because that's also a thing. I know I've done solo casts. This is the third week in a row with the launch of the show, and I will be doing more. And there are interviews coming. I'm just trying to prioritize my writing right now because I believe it's important to walk our talk. And if we're talking about stepping off the sidelines, this fiction book that's been in me for 10 years, that I've only like 50 plus pages done and dressed, that's just draft mode, needs to become a priority. It's become very clear to me that that is something I will regret if I've not made the attempt to write. So it's hard to be reading so many books. Like I have one sitting here now that's like 300 pages. If I have 1 to 3 interviews a week with authors with, books that are 250, 300 pages, that's all time away from my own purpose and from a passion of mine and something that means something to me. So I also want to be modeling what I'm inviting you to do. But I want to invite you to the conversation. So email me, join the newsletter. The link is in my bio on your podcast player. And when you get the weekly update with the solo cast, hit reply and tell me what's resonating. What do you want me to cover on the show? What questions do you have? What topics matter to you? I really do want to cover more on things that truly empower us as women, especially as it relates to finances and money and meaning. Those areas I think are really at the heart and soul. What's possible? How do you actually make things happen versus just dream about them? And how do you move past a lot of those limiting beliefs? And we will be getting to all of that on the podcast through solo casts and through interviews with experts out there. So my friends, thank you for being with me again this week, and I will be back with you next Wednesday. Bye for now.